So we're going to continue working with this belly center here. And, just as that review, this is our place of action. This is where we move from. This is the gut instinct, the primal instinct, the where we're coming from, that instinctual drive. And last time we talked about, this instinctual drive and how it has those very primary emotions of instinct or survival, of belonging, of being able to be safe and supported, versus fear, threat, and feeling into just what that feels like in our body. And so even, going a little bit further into this, this place of instinct, this is our, the survival drive that guides our action, that guides our movement. And so what allows us to do stuff. So, it's like a lot of times we think about things, but to do it is different. To move from it is different. It's very interesting, even walking around. I was playing with this earlier this week of like, I'm thinking in my head and I'm planning, and I noticed that I'm almost like leaning forward. My center of gravity is almost in my head. And I'm kind of like almost floaty, kind of not quite grounded. And then sinking down into my belly, breathing into my belly. And then I'm like, now I'm planning, thinking, but moving from my belly. And my whole gait changed in my walk. It was just more of this like, no, I am here. I am taking steps. I am solid. I am right here. And it reminded me, it's like most martial arts anywhere, it's like it's the belly center. This is where they focus. This is your place of power. It's your center of gravity. This is where you sink down into, because you're most balanced when you move from this place in your belly center. And another interesting part of this is, this instinct, this place of just gut instinct, that survival drive. It drives us to live, but it also is that same drive that drives us to be our best self, to actualize, to grow. It's it's the same drive that drives us to strive, to become. It's the part that helps us take action in that place. So in some ways it's like we think of it as very primal, and yet at the same time it's that like, no, this is what leads me into being my higher self. That type of a movement. And that energy that's the driving of it, we can call that a drive, we can call it passion, we can call it desiring or wanting. It's this energy of movement, of like wanting to move, to go. There's like this deep, deep urge to just go, to grow. And it's one of those things that we tend to shut down a lot. So it's one of those that we just instinctually have learned how to block our desiring, our wanting, for lots of different reasons. But it's like, it's a lot easier to think, to analyze, to decide what I should be doing or going, or how it should be doing this way or that way, rather than really feeling the wanting. Like, what does it feel like to just desire? And to desire from the belly, rather than this thinking about what I want. And so that's what we're going to play with today. Last week we were, that interoceptive mapping of feeling down into the belly, mapping out those sensations of what it feels like. And so we're going to continue with that, but from this place of desiring. We're just bringing up, what are the desires? What are the wants? What are the urges, the longings, just this pull forward? What does that feel like? And oftentimes we notice it up high. It's like, it's way up here. The wanting, the pulling is up here. But what happens if we drop all the way down to the belly? And sense, what are those physical sensations of desiring way low? and just playing. And again, this, mindful awareness, this non-judgment, whatever is here, noticing that if you're focusing on desiring, a lot of times everything tenses up, it just kind of closes in, it pulls in. So you just notice that, just be curious. It might be you noticing that some desires totally open, lots of energy. Other desires, nope, 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 nope. It's that tightening in, that fear reaction of kind of pulling up and holding tight way down there in the belly. So we're just going to play an experiment. Again, just this mapping out, exploring, sensing down into this place where our action comes from, the movement comes from, and noticing where it's open, where it's tight, with just non-judgment, just play. All right, so here we go. All right. So again, with this meditation, since we're really focusing on the belly center, I would encourage you to sit with your feet on the ground if you can. If it's okay, you can sit more towards the edge of your chair. But something where you can like press your heels into the ground so you can like feel that little bit of activation from your heels up into your seat. It gives you just that little bit more of a lift into your belly. But always respect your body. If your body says something else, you follow what your body says. And sitting and meditating in any of the explorations, you always follow your body on that one. All right. So bringing your awareness to your breath. Noticing your inhale and your exhale. You might even be very deliberate in your breathing. Almost that really full inhale and a slow exhale, just to get tuned into where your breath is moving right now. Noticing the air from your nose through your throat down into your upper chest. The movement of your rib cage as you breathe. The chest can open to the front, can open to the sides, can open to the back with the inhale, and then relaxes down and in with the exhale. Feeling into the lower ribs, the ribs on the sides, the ribs going towards the back. Maybe breathing down and towards your middle to lower back. Feeling your back body as you breathe. Maybe seeing how much of your back you can feel with your inhale. Your lower ribs, the space between your shoulder blades, your upper ribs, they're just below your shoulders. Can you feel that slow little tiny pull of your ribs next to your spine as you inhale and then exhale? The vertebrae of the spine just gently pull back with the inhale, floating back forward with the exhale. And following that spine all the way down to your low back, to your sacrum. As you breathe down into your belly, noticing the little bit of movement in your low back. You might notice just a slight tipping in the sacrum as you inhale and exhale. Very subtle movements. And the tailbone might even extend out and back a little bit with the inhale. Relaxing on the exhale. Feeling that movement in the front of your belly. Noticing your inhale and the belly rises. Exhale, and belly relaxes back down. And then even if you want to just slightly move in your seat a little bit, feeling your hips, feeling your sit bones in the chair, those muscles way down there at the bottom of your torso, your pelvic bowl, which holds all your organs up. As you inhale, the diaphragm pulls down, the pelvic bowl relaxes down. As you exhale, they both float up together. Noticing this whole torso moving with the breath. And that check in with your body, sensing into where you are today. Noticing the physical sensations that are present. Just scanning from your head, your neck, your face, your throat, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your chest, your back, your belly, your low back, your seat, your hips, your legs, knees, ankles, down into your feet. Just noticing the body that is here right now, the sensations that are present. Nothing to change or fix. Just noticing. And then noticing the thoughts that are present. Whether the mind is wandering, or it's really sharp focused, or it's foggy, or it's planning. Just noticing. There's no way the thinking has to be. Even when it wanders, every time you notice it and bring it back to the breath, that is the practice of noticing, disengaging, and refocusing over and over and over again. Just noticing thinking happening right now. And then noticing emotions. It could be low intensity emotions, high intensity emotions, positive or negative, neutral, hardly anything at all, or you might have 10 million different things happening all at once. Just noticing, allowing it all to be here, making space. Almost that sense of like, oh yes, this is here. And this emotion is here. And oh yeah, I forgot. I'm holding that one too over there. They're all just here. And then noticing that whole sense of self, the breath, the physical body, the thoughts, the emotions. And this is just simply where you are right now. And then that breathing into the belly and allowing your mind to just daydream, muse, bring up to the surface. What are your desires? What are your wants? What are those urges, the drives? You might notice a whole list of things popping up. You might draw a blank. Whatever happens, you just notice it, curious. No right or wrong, good or bad. Just noticing. Noticing if you can stay with just, oh, I desire this, and I desire this, and I desire this. Or if the mind starts going off into, well, I desire this, but then this would happen, and then I would have to do this. And then this whole chain of thought just starts spiraling out away from it. As you notice the thinking just going further and further away, you just stop. You take a breath, come back. Just one phrase. Oh, I'm desiring this. I really, really want this. Noticing how your body is feeling as you're allowing wanting, or even just thinking about wanting, or blocked against wanting, whatever is here for you. Noticing what happens in your body. Noticing where attention goes, whether it's in your head, your chest, your arms, your legs, your belly. I notice for myself, I drop into desiring or wanting. It's almost like I can feel a heat, like a rumble in my belly. There's an opening and a widening, expanding. I can almost feel myself sinking down into it. But noticing what happens for you, noticing that belly area, whether it opens wide, stays put, pulls in, pulls up. If there's a bracing that happens, or if the desiring stays way high up in your chest and there's no sensation in your belly at all, just noticing. You go, that's curious, very curious. Sometimes it can be fun to play with, different desires, the desiring that's like, oh yes, this is a morally approved desire, what that feels like. Or maybe a desire that's a little bit taboo. I even say that and I can feel my belly just kind of clench in a little bit, like, oh no, block. Following your breath, breathing down into the belly, and playing. Sometimes we can have emotions that come up in response to our desiring. It can be sadness, a blocked longing, or frustration, or hopelessness, like, oh, I can't do that. Or an urgency, even like, I need to, I've got to, I can't, but I want to. Or there can be a joy, there can be an expansion, there can be a vitality and energy and allowing desiring, where there's this flush of energy that just goes up from the belly, through the whole torso, up the spine. This big yes. Breathing down into the belly. Just curiously playing, experimenting, getting to know your body, your instinct, your survival drive, this drive that helps you move and do and act. And what opens it and what closes it. Sometimes we can really feel into our desiring, but there's a really quick yeah, but, and that follows on, that tightens it back up. It's like, sure, I can feel the desiring, but the yeah, but pulls it back in. Can't do that. Won't happen. Not allowed. Shut it off. And just feeling how that changes that drive to move, that drive to take action, the power to move. And then letting that go. Taking all of your awareness back to your breath. Really feeling the inhale in the chest and the upper chest, the lower parts of the lungs. Exhaling. Maybe feeling the breath from your collarbones all the way down to your hip bones. This whole torso alive as you breathe and move. Just with your breath. Quick scan through, noticing your body, noticing your thinking, noticing the emotions that are here right now. The breath, taking in all of you, that whole sense of self right here in this moment. Taking a few more breaths. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes.